Where do the Vikings go from here? Talking about life after Kirk Cousins. Adam Schefter reporting that the starting quarterback tore his Achilles and that an MRI will be happening today to confirm. But where do the Vikings go from here? Talking about the quarterback position. Before I say what I'm about to say, I want to start with this. Judd Zulgad from Score North, Purple Daily, is one of the most talented individuals that I've ever seen when it comes to sports talk. He could be on TV if he really wanted to. Before Score North, before Mackie and Judd on ESPN, he did a show called Judd and Dubé. That's when I started listening to him, and I want to say that was 11 or 12 years ago. I've been following him for a long time. And what I've come to understand about Judd is, number one, he doesn't say things just to say things. I wouldn't classify him as an insider that's going to break news. But number two, he always seems to have a pulse within the organization as far as what is happening operationally. He knows who is responsible for what and the processes behind it. Judd Zulgad tweeted out yesterday, "I'm hearing that Kwesi Adofo-Mensah has a lot of decisions to make, etc., etc. While he certainly will be heavily involved, make no mistake that these decisions will be allowed or not allowed by the New Jersey-based ownership group." So here we're talking about Mark and Ziggy Wolf. And what I will say is that as an owner of a professional sports team, you are in this position because first off, you have made a ton of wealth outside of the sport, in most cases anyway, but you're wealthy enough to not just purchase a pro sports team, but you're also wealthy enough to fund the daily operational expenses as far as what it takes to run a pro sports team. It's not enough to buy it. You have to run it on a daily basis. You cut the checks. That's it. You have football minds that you have hired. You need to let your football people make football decisions. The last thing I want to see, and I guess maybe because the Wolf brothers were so hands off with the previous regime that they're like, all right, we're not going to let this happen again. We're going to let our thoughts be known, and we're going to make the final say so on major decisions. You don't want that to happen. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, I feel like, has had a controversial start to his tenure, but you need to let him do his job. I mean, my goodness, the man is already getting advice from Ryan Grigson. We don't need him to also get the hammer from Mark and Ziggy Wolf. You cut the checks, let your football people make football decisions. If it is true that the ownership group is meddling in football affairs, then we have a lot more bigger problems that need to be addressed. But Kirk Cousins, post Achilles. Where do the Vikings go from here? Quite honestly, this isn't even hard. It's Jaren Hall season. I presented this on social media last night saying, hey, listen, no outside guys. You have to see what you have in Jaren Hall. You owe it to yourselves as an organization to do so. And somehow this is a controversial take. Oh, Jaren Hall, he's trash. You absolutely do not need to see what you have in Jaren Hall. Find somebody else. Bring somebody in. Trade for somebody. Sign somebody from the outside. Really? Bring in a new guy? What, Tom Brady, who has made it clear that he is retired several times? I'm not coming back, bro. I'm done. It's been a good run. Kyler Murray, you want to trade for him? Who, by the way, after this season, you're on the hook for that ridiculous ass contract for at least another 4 years through the 2027 season with the following cap hits: $52 million, $46 million, $55.5 million, $43.5 million. Those are the cap hits. You want to trade for that? A guy who's worse than Kirk Cousins? Who I don't even believe in. This man has an immaturity issue, who at one point had a clause in his new contract that, hey, promise to please study film. Don't want any of that. Phillip Rivers, who's done. Carson Wentz, who got ran out of Indy in Washington. Jameis Winston, who for every touchdown that he throws is good for also throwing at least one interception. You want to bring an outside guy in? Who, by the way, trading or signing, bringing a quarterback in mid-season, already 8 games in. Bringing a quarterback in from the outside. This isn't a plug-and-play position that you can just get away with. This is somebody who has to learn the system, the playbook. On top of that, figure out timing and chemistry with his offensive weapons. So essentially, by saying that Jaren Hall, screw him, he's trash, I would rather bring in someone, trade for, or sign someone to essentially wing it for at least, at the very least, and I'm probably being generous right here, at the very least, 4 weeks before that player somewhat figures it out. The fact is, no quarterback from the outside is going to be more prepared than Jaren Hall is right now. This is a guy who has been here since training camp, mini camp. He already knows the playbook. You saw him in the game yesterday, 4 attempts. Deep in his own territory, Kevin O'Connell trusted him enough to run all these zippity-doo-dah plays. This is the obvious answer to roll with. Otherwise, why draft him in the first place? Why have him on the active roster? Take the Vikings name out of it. If I told you an NFL team who was on the come up the last couple of games, they lost their starting quarterback. If I were to tell you, all right, listen, these are their options. They can sign or trade for a guy, or they do have this rookie quarterback. Oh, wait, they have a rookie quarterback? Oh, well then, problem solved. What is there to talk about? This is the perfect time to play him. Jaren Hall is the only answer. And quite honestly, whatever you're going to do this season, Jaren Hall is going to give you the best chance at achieving that. Because if you bring someone from the outside, it's going to be a Mickey Mouse ass offense. It's going to be a total disaster. And if you're going to help this young man, because by the way, you owe it to yourselves to find out what you have in this guy. It's all about now 2024 and beyond. The season, it's you could have had a chance to control your own destiny. If he's going to be out for the year, Kirk Cousins, then you got to start planning ahead. You have to give this man a fair shot. What do I mean by that? Against the third worst defense against the run yesterday, the Green Bay Packers, the Vikings averaged 2 yards per carry. That's unacceptable. It's one thing to do that to Kirk Cousins because he's a seasoned vet and he's used to it. He'll figure it out. But for a rookie quarterback to put him in that position to where he doesn't have a run game whatsoever, he has an offensive line, he has weapons in the passing game, but he doesn't have a run game worth a damn. That you're constantly putting this young man in third and long situations. You need to give him a fair shot. You have to address the run game. I don't think it's just Cam Akers. Cam Akers should be the RB1 if you're not going to make any moves at all. Demote Alexander Mattison, sure. But it can't just be Cam Akers. You have to find somebody else. Add somebody else to this roster. I don't care if it's Derrick Henry. I don't care who it is. Somebody. He needs a run game to give him a fair chance. Otherwise, you're just setting him up for failure. And furthermore, We talked about just the back and forth the last couple of weeks. We talked about before the Vikings should be sellers, and then with Minnesota winning 3 straight games, you would think, and going into last week, 2 straight games, say, actually, they should flip the switch and be buyers. Well, now with your starting quarterback out, and really that whatever glimmer of hope you had for this season, it's really more so the shift has to be on planning for the future. You would think that the Vikings should become sellers again, which I think you should trade Danielle Hunter. You have to revisit that, because if you can get a first-round pick for him, you absolutely have to do it. And I can understand the flip side is, well, maybe you should keep him, because to further help out Jaren Hall is to say, not only do we need a run game, but also we need the NFL's sack leader and TFL leader to continue to help this defense out, so that way Jaren Hall can get more opportunities. If you can force more 3-and-outs, more short possessions by the opposing offenses, then Jaren Hall gets more opportunities, more reps to get comfortable in this offense. I say trade him, Danielle Hunter, but I can see the other side as well. This is a tough position to be in, because Kirk Cousins has been healthy practically his whole career. Doesn't miss games due to injury since being a full-time starter. But Jaren Hall, I can't believe this is a controversial take. You drafted this guy for a reason. Otherwise, why is he here? Why is he wasting a roster spot? To say that he's trash after just 4 pass attempts is crazy. And I thought he did well, all things considered. There was the sack fumble given up by all people, Christian Darrisaw, but he did get a first down. Let's see what this young man has. Let's see what he's capable of. Let's see what sort of bag he has. And guess what? If it all goes to hell, you're going to draft a quarterback more likely than not anyway in 2024. Give this dude a chance. This is the perfect opportunity to do so.